Hello and a very good morning, my dear children. Hope you have watched the previous video on rational numbers and you have tried to prepare your notes on that. So we shall continue from there. The rational numbers, the first video which I had uploaded, you had the properties of rationals which were discussed. The four major important properties that we have already discussed is the closure property, then you had the commutative property, then the associative property, and lastly we came across the distributive property, that is distribution of multiplication over addition or subtraction. Now there are some more properties, the minor ones which was not discussed in the previous video. So quickly we will go through those properties also before we take up the exercise on the properties of rational. So the next two properties that I would like to discuss would be the role of zero. The role of zero. Alright. Now this is the next property that we have to discuss. That is when you add zero to either a natural number, whole number or an integer, what do you get back? You get back the same number. That means when 0 is added to a whole number, you get back the same whole number. When it is added to a natural number, you get back the same natural number. And when it is added to an integer, you get back the same integer. The same property holds for the rational number also. So when 0 is added to a rational number, you get back the same rational. So 0 is called the additive identity for the rationals also. As it is the additive identity for the natural numbers, the whole numbers and the integers, 0 is also the additive identity for rational numbers. So 0 is called the additive identity for rationals. It is very clear from the word that additive identity. When you add that 0, you get back the same number. That is why it is identity. When you add 0 to any rational number, you get back the same rational number. That is, for example, if A is any rational number, then A plus 0 is equal to A itself. That means you start with a rational number A and you add 0 to it, you get back the same rational. So the 0 is called the additive identity for the rationals. So that was the first one that we are seeing today. The second one is the negative of a number. The second property that we are seeing, the negative of a number. So this is another property with respect to rationals that we have to see. That means if A by B is a rational number, if A by B is a rational number, then there exists another number which is negative A by B. Then when I add this A by B and negative A by B, I will get 0. Then that negative A by B will be called the additive inverse of the given rational number. So when I talk about negative of a number, actually I am talking about the additive inverse. When I was talking about 0, I was talking about additive identity. Now when I am talking about negative of a number, that means I am talking about the additive inverse of a given rational. So in general, if A by B is a rational, then if A by B is a rational, then we have A by B plus negative A by B, which will become equal to 0. So when I add negative A by B to the original rational A by B, then the sum becomes 0. Then I say negative A by B is the additive inverse of A by B. Then if this condition holds, that means a rational and another rational with a negative. When I add, if it is becoming 0, then this negative rational will become the additive inverse of this positive rational. Or this positive rational will become the additive inverse of the negative rational. Then negative A by B is called the additive inverse of A by B. Alright. So if I take A by B as a rational number, then there may be existing negative A by B such that when I add A by B and negative A by B, I get a 0. Then if this condition is valid, I can say the negative A by B is called the additive inverse of A by B. So when you want to write the additive inverse of any rational number, it is very simple. You don't have to do anything. Just introduce a negative sign to the given rational. Then the new rational that you get will become the additive inverse of the given rational. Now the next property that we will see is the reciprocal. So I think I'll clear this quickly so that we can write the reciprocal. That is the third property that we are seeing today. The reciprocal. Now the reciprocal, you know it very well. You have been talking about this very much from your primary itself. So if A by B is a rational, then you can write the reciprocal of this rational as B by A. What is the reciprocal of any given rational? The numerator becomes the denominator and the denominator becomes the numerator. Then the new rational that you get will become the reciprocal of the given rational. So in general, if I take A by B as the given rational, then I can say B by A will become the reciprocal of the given rational. Then when I multiply a rational with its reciprocal, always my product will become equal to 1. Or I can say the reciprocal will be called the multiplicative inverse of a given rational. So in general, if A by B is a rational, then what do I know? If I take A by B and its reciprocal is B by A and I try to multiply them, then my product will become 1 because this will get cancelled like this. So the product of a rational and its reciprocal will always be equal to 1. Or I can say B by A is the multiplicative inverse of the given rational. Multiplicative inverse of A by B. So you must be very careful whether we are talking about the additive inverse or the multiplicative inverse. So if A by B is a given rational, to get its additive inverse, I just have to introduce a negative sign to the given rational and hence I will be able to get the additive inverse. But if I want a multiplicative inverse, what should I do? If the given rational is A by B, I should change the numerator as denominator and the denominator as numerator. So A by B, its multiplicative inverse will be B by A. Only then the product of the rational with its multiplicative inverse will always be equal to 1. Alright. So these are 3 more properties that we have to add to the existing properties so that we complete all the properties and take up problems on the rational numbers. Okay, now we will take up the problems in exercise 1.1. You can look into your textbooks. It is in page number 14. So we will try to find out the additive either inverse and the multiplicative inverse of given rationals. This is in the second main. Write the additive inverse. The second main, the problem is to write the additive inverse. The first one says the given rational is 2 by 8. What will be its additive inverse? Additive inverse will be equal to negative 2 by 8. As I told you, when I take a rational and add it to its additive inverse, I must get 0. So if I add 2 by 8 and negative 2 by 8, definitely I am going to get 0. Hence I can say the additive inverse of 2 by 8 is negative 2 by 8. So to get the additive inverse, what did I tell you have to do? Just introduce a negative sign to the given rational. You will get its additive inverse. Now suppose my given rational is negative 5 by 9. What will be the additive inverse? Already it has got a negative in its symbol there. It is a negative rational. So its additive inverse will be a positive rational. You just have to remove that negative and write it as positive. If you are given a positive rational, you should write the additive inverse as the negative rational. If you already have a negative rational, remove that negative, you will get its additive inverse. Similarly, 2 by negative 9. 2 by negative 9. The general form of writing this rational will be negative 2 by 9. 2 by negative 9 means it is negative 2 by 9. The negative is always shown in the numerator. That's how we write it in the general form. So if negative 2 by 9 is your given rational, what will be your additive inverse? Because it is already a negative rational, its additive inverse will be a positive rational 2 by 9. So this is the way in which you find the additive inverse of given rationals. Now moving on to the fourth main, where you are asked to write the multiplicative inverse of the given rationals. So the first one you are given is negative 13 by 19. This is the rational given to me. I have to write the multiplicative inverse. There is a difference between the additive and the multiplicative inverse. As I told, the additive inverse means it is simply to add the negative sign to the positive rational to get its additive inverse. If the given rational is negative, remove that negative to get the additive inverse. Now here I am asked the multiplicative inverse, that means the reciprocal. So what will be the reciprocal of negative 13 by 9? It will be 19 by negative 13, or this is equal to negative 19 by 13. In the standard form, you write it like that. Always the negative is shown in the numerator. Alright. Now the next one they are asking is 1 by 5. What is the multiplicative inverse of 1 by 5? So the multiplicative inverse will be 5 by 1. The numerator and the denominators are simply changed. Next they are asking negative 5 by 8 into negative 3 by 7. So there is a multiplication that we have to complete before we write its multiplicative inverse. So this will be seen as negative into negative positive, 5 into 3, 15. Then 8 into 7 is 56. So this is your given rational. Next you have to go and write the multiplicative inverse. So the multiplicative inverse will be 56 by 15. Right? So if there is some operation which is given, complete the operation and get the rational in its simplest form. Once you get it in the simplest form, then go and find out its multiplicative inverse. Because it is a negative rational multiplied with another negative rational, the product is going to be a positive rational. And hence when you want the multiplicative inverse of this, you will find it like that, 56 by 50. So these were simple problems to find the additive inverse and the multiplicative inverse of given rational. Okay, now using all the properties of rationals that we have learned so far, let us try to simplify a few problems given to us. Like I'll take the first one. Using appropriate properties, find the value of. This is the first main that I'm taking. It is negative 2 by 3 into 3 by 5 plus 5 by 2 minus 3 by 5 into 1 by 6. So this is the problem given to me. Now I have to carefully watch out which are the properties which are hidden and I can use them there. So let me see. I am seeing a multiplication here and another multiplication here. Can I see two multiplications there? And I am seeing that 3 by 5 is getting multiplied with two other rationals, and this positive 5 by 2 I will keep it separately. So I will do a little rearrangement. I will do it like this. Negative 2 by 3 into 3 by 5, I will write it as 3 by 5 into negative 2 by 2. A into B is written as B into A. Which property did I use? I have used the commutative property. So within brackets you can write commutative property. Alright. Then similarly here I bring this negative 3 by 5 into 1 by 6. Then I write the 5 by 2. Correct? I just did a small rearrangement here. I brought this multiplication here and I pushed the 5 by 2 to the other side. Here I made a small change of A by B is written as B into A into B is written as B into B. Now look, again I have something. That is 3 by 5 is getting multiplied with 1 by 6 and negative 2 by 3. So I will see this as a distribution of multiplication over addition or subtraction. So I will try to remove the 3 by 5 from both these terms. This is term 1, this is term 2. So 3 by 5 when I remove from here, what I am getting is negative 2 by 2. And from here when I remove, again 3 by 5 I have negative 1 by 6 plus 5 by 2. I hope this is clear. So by removing this 3 by 5 as a common factor between both these terms, I am trying to bring the distributive property. I am distributing the 3 by 5 over the first rational, which is 2 by 3 with a negative sign, and the second rational 1 by 6 again with a negative sign. So 3 by 5 multiplied with negative 2 by 3, and again 3 by 5 multiplied with negative 1 by 6. So this I can simplify now, as because 3 and 6, the common denominator is 6. I multiply this with 2, it will become negative 4 and negative 1 plus 5 by 2. Next, this will become 3 by 5 into negative 4, negative 5 will be negative 1 by negative 5, this is 6 plus 5 by 2. So this will get cancelled. 3 and 6 again, it is 2 times. So in the numerator, I have negative 1 by 2 plus 5 by 2. Now again, the common denominator is 2, it is negative 1 plus 5, which will be positive 4 by 2, and hence the final answer is 2. So I could do this problem by using two properties. I use the commutative property first, and then I have used the distributive property. So this is how this problem is to be completed. Now we'll take up the second problem and try to see if we are able to see some more properties there. So let me take up the second problem now. Okay, the second problem says 2 by 5 multiplied with negative 3 by 7 minus 1 by 6 into 3 by 2 plus 1 by 14 into 2 by 5. Yes, what can I see here now? Again, you have to be very careful to see if there is any distribution. Whenever there is multiplication, the clue is there is some distribution. Can you see there are 2 by 5 multiplied with negative 3 by 7, again 2 by 5 multiplied with 1 by 14. So this 2 by 5 is getting distributed on negative 3 by 7 and 1 by 14. So let me put it like this. First, so it is 2 by 5 into negative 3 by 7 plus a 2 by 5 into 1 by 14 minus you have a 1 by 6 into 3 by 2. This is separate. But we don't have any common factor there, so I'm not doing anything with that. Now, let me write this as distribution of multiplication over addition. So it will be 2 by 5 multiplied with negative 3 by 7 plus 1 by 14 minus, this can be just simplified like this as 2 times, so it is negative 1 by 4. Okay, that's a multiplication, so I have completed that. So here again you are seeing the distributive property. Alright, now just let me simplify what is there in the bracket. So the common denominator will be 14, so this has to be multiplied by 2, negative 6, positive 1, minus negative 1 by 6. So this will be 2 by 5 into negative 5 by 14 minus 1 by 4. So here I get the 5 which is getting cancelled, 2 will go with 7. So I have a negative 1 by 7, negative 1 by 4. So this will be negative 4, negative 7 whole divided by 28, or it is negative 11 by 28. So this is how I simplify this problem. So I am using the distributive property here again. Distribution of multiplication over the addition. So this is how you have to use your properties to complete problems on rationals. Okay, the next thing that we are going to discuss today is the representation of the rationals on the number line. So we already saw how to represent a given natural number, a whole number, or an integer on the number line. We know that integers, whole numbers, and natural numbers have specific positions on the number line. Now these rationals are those which are existing between these natural numbers, whole numbers, and the integers. So we are going to locate their position on the number line. Now it is very simple. Because they are rational numbers, they are fractions. So they will fall in between two integers or between two whole numbers or between two natural numbers. Now how to fix the position of a rational number on a number line, we are going to see. Because rational number can both be a negative as well as a positive. We'll see both the cases. So first we will take the rational number 4 by 9. So this is the rational number given to me. Now I'm going to represent this on the number line. Means on the number line I have to show where is this sitting in the number line. So it is very simple. You have to look at the rational given carefully. It has a numerator, it has a denominator. Now it is a proper fraction. That means the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So this will lie between 0 and 1 only. Because it is not a full complete one, it is a proper fraction. So the position of this rational number will be between 0 and 1. So if my number line is to be taken like this, please use your scales and draw the number lines neatly. I know this now rational is going to lie between 0 and 1. So next I have to tell how many divisions between 0 and 1 should I make. Now how will you decide as to how many divisions you have to make? That is by looking at the denominator. Because the whole between 0 and 1 has to be divided into 9 parts. Because it is 4 by 9. So if I have 0 here, we don't need the negative direction. Because it is a positive rational, it will lie between 0 and 1 only. So I need to divide the space between 0 and 1 as 9 equal parts. So you can use your scale and take 1 centimeter equals 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I made 9 equal divisions. Please use your scale and do it accurately. Every 1 centimeter you can give as 1 unit. So I made 9 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now the 10th, okay, the 9th division itself will be your 1. So I have made 9 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? So this first one will represent 1 out of 9 parts that you have. So the second obvious will be 2 by 9. This will be 3 by 9, 4 by 9, 5 by 9, 6 by 9, 7 by 9, 8 by 9. And your 9 by 9 is going to become 1. So you have divided the number line between 0 and 1 into 9 equal parts. And you know each of the part will be 1 out of the 9 parts. Now the rational that I want is 4 by 9. So this is the position of your 4 by 9 on the number. So you can box it up like this and show it with an arrow. That this is going to be your 4 by 9. So this is how you locate a given rational on the number line. Suppose I have a negative rational that I have to represent. Say I will take a negative rational from your exercise that may become one problem. I want negative 5 by 6. So this is my second rational that I want. Negative 5 by 6. Alright, negative 5 by 6 is the second rational that I want to represent on the number line. Now again I told you it is a negative rational, so it is going to lie on the left side of the 0. Right? In the previous one we had a positive rational, so we were only concentrating on the positive direction or the right side of 0. Now because you have a negative rational, you have to concentrate on the left side of 0. Again I told you it is a proper fraction because the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So definitely this rational is going to lie between 0 and negative 1. Okay, this is my 0 and negative 1. Now the denominator will tell me how many parts I have to make. So 6 parts between 0 and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that is the 6th part. So each one will be a negative 1 by 6. So negative 1 by 6. This will be negative 2 by 6. negative 3 by 6, negative 4 by 6, negative 5 by 6, and this will be negative 6 by 6, which is equal to 1. Alright, so I have located my negative 5 by 6 here. So this is my negative 5 by 6. Alright, so this is how I locate the given rational on the number line. So these were proper fractions which lie between 0 and positive 1 or 0 and negative 1. Now what if I have other rationals which I want to represent on the number line? Like for example, now let me take the rational negative 7 by 4. I want negative 7 by 4. This is also a rational, so I should know how to represent this also on the number line. It is not necessary that I have all my rationals between 0 and positive 1 or 0 and negative 1. Now I have a negative 7 by 4. So it is a negative rational. I am very clear. It will be on the left side of 0 on the number line. Now negative 7 by 4. How is it different from the previous two examples? Here the numerator is greater than the denominator. So it is a kind of improper fraction. So I know how to convert this into a mixed fraction. That means this is negative 1 3 by 4. I divide negative 7 by 4. I get it as negative 1 3 by 4. This is a whole number and a fraction together. So it's a mixed fraction. So after negative 1, you should locate where is 3 by 4. That will give you the position of negative 7 by 4. So this number, this rational, that is negative 7 by 4, is negative 1 3 by 4. That means it is still further on the left side of negative 1. Or in other words, you can say it is going to lie between negative 1 and negative